Da, 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 da. Watch spot. Oh, I'm camera, and I'm really tired, so this is gonna go quick before I do. Oh, I don't need to fall asleep on camera. That would be kind of crazy. Um, let's see. We're gonna start with CBS. I'm just trying to see where to go. I guess we'll go Moms is what I saw last. So Christy is now the head of the restaurant, the manager of the restaurant, and I'm not really seeing it as a step up. Like, not only you get all the responsibility, which is what you're supposed to have, so it's all stress, it's all cost that way, and it seems like if there is a pay, hopefully though there is a pay increase. I don't know what's going on with school. I don't know what's going on with the lawyer thing. It seems like they kind of abandoned that in favor of the oh my god, my dad's dead type thing. And then Bonnie, yeah, that's the other one. Started lording everyone's secrets over everyone to extend her position at the apartments. So hopefully she's going to learn. I think I did talk about this now that I think about it, but hopefully she's going to learn how to actually do her job, and we'll actually see them stay there, because I don't think we need to do another shift. I don't know what that's going to do to the story. Dad, husband dying is enough of a problem to deal with, I think. Yeah, and this family doesn't need any more adversity. They're chock full of it as it is. Okay, and then we'll to the Big Bang Theory next. This was a huge episode. I called this as a season finale for, I think, last season. It didn't happen. I was really wondering when they were going to pull the trigger on it. It seems like when they're milking this and trying to stretch it out so it can be friends, I don't think they're doing services, and this seems like a really awkward place for it to happen, or maybe that's what they wanted to happen because they wanted to keep people on their toes, which is pissing me off that people are wanting to do that. If you're going to do a show on a franchise that I know, I don't want you to surprise me. I want you to deliver the franchise I know in a new, exciting way, and that's what keeps you on my toes. You don't have to rewrite the story. God damn it. So I don't understand television's obsession with, we got to keep them on their toes. We got to let them not know what to expect. People are not that bored. They're going to watch your shitty shows no matter what, because they already like their shows. So all you have to do is keep them watching the show. Yeah, you could make an argument that there's a disinterest in build if it's predictable. But if they're watching your show to keep them guessing, then they're going to watch anything to keep them guessing, and they don't actually like your show. They just they don't know something. Deliver a quality product, and it'll handle itself. Okay. So, Wallitz's mom dying, overdue, and I expected him to hit with righteous fury against Stewart. Because he finally got the comic store back, and his mom and Howard's mom's the reason it happened. But Howard has been feuding with Stewart over the affection from his mother. And, that was a decent storyline. I was actually interested in that line because it was interesting, because it was obvious that they didn't really hate each other. It's just that Howard was dealing with a personal issue. Now, we're going to have this as an unresolved issue. It's always going to be a thing. Stewart's going to become a villain just because Howard had over-attachment to his mother. Come on. There are better storylines to be had in this that just aren't pursued in lieu of things that they think the general public are going to like versus the core demographic for this type of show, which is the nerdy, geeky crowd. And, I really wish they would go back to, season 3 and before. I just fire the writers, get new ones. Hire the old writers, because they can't be the same writers. On to Two Broke Girls. We're covering CBS still. That's going to be the last one. I just watched this one. I don't know what to say about it. It doesn't... It's just as funny as any other shows. They have very few bad episodes. But it's all centered on this photographer, apparently, that comes in. It's Caroline's first regular, and it seems to be a setup for her embracing the life of being a waitress, finally, instead of being a rich person who now has to be a waitress, she's now going to be a waitress, or as much as a waitress as Max is, which, like, it shows serving people all the time, but if you listen to Han, they don't do any work, so, but there's this whole other angle that's really subtle, and I like it, but not judging a book by its cover. Like, because they think she's a homeless woman. The lady thinks that certain people like her, or she might be a lesbian because she's wearing a hat, which is all surface appearance. They have this whole thing where they dress up and they're speaking certain ways because they're at an art gallery exhibit, but they're not necessarily that way. So there's this whole double standard of being what you are and not being what you appear to be. So I don't know, maybe I just missed something, but to me it was saying, like, just because she appears to be a waitress doesn't mean she has to be a waitress. But it seemed like her resolution was that she was going to start being a waitress instead of just looking like she was a waitress. So I don't know where that takes us as far as things go. But we're going to move on from CBS onto Netflix, because I really only have one thing I've been watching on Netflix lately, because I've been distracted from watching things, and that's fine. It's no real problem there. I need to shape up for it. The Paradise. I finished The Paradise. I never thought I would like that show when I first turned it on. It's much more than like a couple cute girls, especially since they're all in frockery and whatnot, because that was the times. So it's not like there's a lot of sexy dress or skin or crude behavior or anything like that. But I guess that was a factor in, like, piquing my interest in the beginning, and then later it definitely became with the characters. It became very much about Denise and where she's going to go with the Paradise, and the love triangles that are centering on the characters and everything. And then in between series 1, series 2, that's what they call seasons in England. I don't know why. There's a year that's missing from the story. Duder has been in Paris. Man, you took that really well. Has been in Paris for a year and not at the Paradise. Denise has been there, but Miss Audrey's been there running things. So it's not like anything's really changed. It's really same old for a year without Murray being in charge. So it lasted on its own without him. So he doesn't really need him. Then whatever reason, Miss Glenending gets married and comes back and requests Murray back, because if she's trying to rebuild her old life, or it's really hard to tell. About 3/4 of the way through, I think, maybe into the end, depending upon what your perspectives are, if she is trying to, or she really wants to hurt Murray, or if she wants her life with Murray, and like she's pining for it instead of trying to hurt him. And there's this whole tit for tat. She's been in the power position up until her father died, because that happened while in between series. And now she is under the thumb of her husband, because that's what happened in those days. And they go about this weird way of punishing each other, and he is not a nice person. Amongst all the people who don't do nice things. But like between that avenue and then Miss Audrey marrying Edmund finally, and then I don't know why, but they leave and go to a cottage and don't do anything. It would appear that, like, given all the progress that's made, that Miss Audrey would keep her position and Edmund would keep the shop, or she would go and they would try to make do at the shop or whatever. But apparently he's not doing well enough to feed himself or feed 2 people, but they could move to a cottage somewhere and have a blast. I don't know. It just that part didn't make a lot of sense. But Miss Audrey's absence lets Denise go to charge, and that puts a funny power dynamic in between her and Murray and the owners, because the owners are preferencing Denise to try to hurt Murray, both of them at different times for different reasons, which is kind of funny. But it's a super interesting show, and it's complex without being complicated. And if you liked Downtown Abbey, watch this. It's probably a simpler version from there, but it's got a lot of the same good mechanics for those type of shows. I think this is actually a lot more interesting because there's practical application at play as well for the story. So that's really all I've been doing on Netflix. All right. Before we get to Hulu, I'm going to try to catch up on Switch at Birth so I can stay current because I really love the show. And if Pretty Little Liars is current, I got to figure out how to watch that. Because I don't think that's done with. If they canceled that show before we resolved everything, I'd be so mad. Be insanely mad. Oh, you know what? I should have rolled this back before I started, so apologies. I'm pretty sure I talked about The Last Resurrection or something. Yeah, because I Tuesdays night's going to be the night, so it should be hopefully be a shorter one. Yeah, so I talked about Modern Family, and I'm sure I talked about Arrow and 100. So Christella, this is, I don't know, like in shows like this where they get a little episodic, they had work jokes at work and they had personal jokes in Christella's family, but for whatever reason they're bleeding it all together, and now her boss's wife is showing up at her place, and she's mediating for their marriage. And I think it's going to come back into play that she was mediating for them when she goes for associate. I think that was the whole point, to give them a base and her a little bit of favoritism. And maybe there's going to be a big conflict with Josh when she goes for the job. I know it's not a drama like that, but even in a comedy, you need something to overcome so that you can feel good about the situation as you're championing the main character or whoever your favorite is. If you don't like Christella and you like Josh, then there's to go. Fresh Off the Boat, Home Sweet Home School. Oh, that's not an accurate enough title, I don't think. I did get caught up on Fresh Off the Boat. Okay, so here the short and skinny for that episode is that he's trying to run the restaurant. His wife's annoying, demeaning. The kids are doing well at school, which in Asian culture means that the school's not hard enough. So she goes in a search for extra school, and she ends up staying at home and homeschooling him, which makes him happy because he doesn't have to deal with her, makes the kids miserable. The kids rat him out to her, and so they start doing school at the restaurant, which I've seen in real life, so I know that's the barest of exaggerations. Okay, so the third episode is like the block party. It's all about like being true to yourself and your friends. Like she only has the one friend that's the one nobody likes, so she is trying to do her best with it, and she starts playing along for her husband's sake, but then she traitors them at the last second, which I really liked, and starts singing and dedicating a friend or a song to the shunned person in the neighborhood, and I really like that. We got to see the extended family finally. They've been yapping about these guys for a couple episodes. They finally all drive down to Florida from D.C. to kind of rub it in their face because apparently that's what they do. They had some Captain Subtext moments, which was fun. And then, like, I don't know why, but, like, I'm looking at the photo. It's the Success Perm is the name of the episode, so they've got that thumbnail there of them with Success Perms. And she looks kind of cute, but he looks ridiculous with that. And I don't know that's a thing. I've never seen that before. Oh, yeah, okay. And the next episode's all about... Okay, remember, this is 1995. They're, like, middle school, maybe? I don't even know how old. But they're getting into kissing and making out with chicks or whatever. And, like, none of them know what a dirty movie is. But they all want to see one. So Eddie says he has one, which he doesn't. And he gets his hands on, like, a sexual harassment video. But the trail up to that is so funny because at the block party, the neighbor's daughter moved back in for the weekend or whatever it is. and he apparently is in love with her. She's like a high school student. He's like middle school, maybe freshman. But he looks like a middle schooler, and it's just so funny that his pursuit of that. And he shows up at her house with the camera. He's like, "Can I just film you doing something? I need this." And like she didn't tell him off for anything, and like which is one part funny and which one part angry because it's like, yeah, you should probably have told him off, but maybe she was into it and she just didn't want to appear that way. I don't know. So it's going to be interesting what happens with that storyline because traditionally he's going to go after her, fail, and then she's going to end up trailing him into another girl that's more appropriate for him, which is what happened with her mom, though, which is why I'm concerned, and I'm super interested, to be honest. Glee. We got marriages. We had weddings in a barn, but still. Santana and Heather Morris's character, I can't remember, Britt, finally get married. And then, yeah, to ruin the episode for you, Blaine and I have no idea why I can never remember Kurt's name. They end up getting married too on the spot. At Sue's insistence too. This is really like an episode less about the music and the singing and being Glee and just these old fucking characters that shouldn't be on the show coming together and being a family. And it doesn't do anything to progress the Glee Club. So it pisses me off. Because I'm actually interested in that storyline and we're not getting it on a show that's supposed to be about a Glee Club. Ugh. I would have a lot less to talk about, but I caught up on Melissa and Joey. Now, granted, I apparently missed the first 3 episodes of season 4, but nothing seems to really have hit off between then, other than the dude from Jersey showing up, which is the start of the 4th episode. They catch her and him canoodling or whatever it is, because they're still adults, even though she's living at Melissa Joan Hart's house. And Joey and Melissa are married now, so they're trying to do the traditional family thing. Joey's kid's there now, so they do still have a kid, even if it's not on Melissa Joan Hart's side. I cannot remember her name. Vanessa? Maybe? I don't know. His name's Joe. Oh, it's Mel. So it's Melissa and Joe. Okay. That's her real name. That bothers me now that I think about it. But it makes sense, too, in a way. But they went through a baby fever episode. It's mugging for the camera. Oh, yeah, the art angle is friggin' weird. Oh, I honestly don't understand. The art angle was in there, like the daughter's or the niece's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, and new boyfriend don't like each other, but they both end up competing for the same internship. And then, like, apparently the ex really gets the dog end of it. He gets the internship, and then the other guy still gets a position hanging out with the guy, the artist, for welds and whatnot. I don't know. It's strange. And then I don't remember any of this episode. It was something about mugging for the camera. Riley rescues Ben from a mugging, and both enlisted to tell their story. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch that one, to be honest with you. I may fall asleep. That happens occasionally. Very interesting episode of Castle. Not like really big, the overall storyline, but a very good episodic. They go to Mars. Well, not really. They go to a simulation of Mars, and it turns out like there's some things somebody is like tunneling in to get information for a competitor private space race type thing, but someone's killed inside the sealed simulation where there's only 4 people, so it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. And we have kind of not a smart AI, but an AI working in there as well. So you got to count them as a 6th crew member is what they said. So I really like the idea of doing things. So I kind of want like I, Robot is a TV series. I like this episode, but I like it more as a concept for a whole series rather than a one-off. Like good for Nathan Fillion, he gets Predindies on Mars, but it's fun to see Castle goof off and then do that. As interesting as the murder was, the family dynamic situation, because Alex is having friends over, his mom's dating, people are using his pajamas and his stuff, and he's getting all fussy, and I think we're moving towards people getting their own places and life changing, and Castle being very upset by that. So that'll be an interesting personal angle to the show once that happens. The last, I promise, because I'm falling out here. Episode 2 of The Slap. I never thought I'd see a show that would put me in the position to applaud a child getting slapped, and then reinforce that. But now, before anyone really hates me after that comment, the show is filled with horrible people. Like, the parents of the kid who got slapped are shitty. The guy who did the slapping's an asshole. His wife seems like an okay person. His kid's just troubled, partly because of all this. The guy whose house they were at, like, he's fucked up. Like, his wife's a victim. I think she knows it too. That's the weird part, is I think she's aware of her situation. And she just doesn't want to, like, go that 1/10 to the full 10 to understanding, like, everything. And then, what was it? Then there's, like, other people in the family still that, like, and so we've got to see, for whatever reason, we've got the whole family has to be okay with each other, and it's not. It's never going to be that way, given what's happened. This is going to be an event that divides and ruins the family forever. And as far as the court case goes, I'm actually on the side of the defendant. As far as that family goes, Slapper's family's all fucked. Break them up, have the kid go off with mom, no visitation, fine. I'm fine with that. The other family, take the 12-year-old away from the tit. I don't understand. I don't understand how the kid's not really big enough to fit on your lap, and you're still okay putting your breast in his face. If he's old enough to, like, find dirty magazines, and oh my god, if he's old, okay, really honestly, if he's old enough to say, like, Mom, I want some breast milk, then he's too old to be having it. That's a fact. Anything past that is conjecture and discussion. It was weird Game of Thrones. It's weird in this. What's more is when they finally set Siler down to apologize, like she was doing it, and it felt very deliberate. Their whole lifestyle seems very deliberate, and that's fine. Like, as long as it's not affecting anybody else, great. But for it to not affect anybody else, your kid has to never see anybody else in the world. Because it's your responsibility to teach them how to interact and behave with the world in a manner fitting accordingly with their customs. I don't like it like that angle either, but it's how it is. And if I got to deal with you and your shitty kid, you need to rein it in. Otherwise, you run that risk. The reality is that I could go on a killing spree or slap people all day long. Nothing is going to stop me from taking those actions once I've reached the point of, hey, I want to take these actions. I'm not saying that I want to take these actions, I would. I'm saying this show is sparking a question of, like, morality and, like, if we're all fucked up, where do we draw what lines? It's making you think about things, and hopefully it's making people think about how they're raising and managing their kids, because I guarantee you this is starting arguments and fights and divisions in families all across the country, if not the world. And I bet, like, demographically, if we surveyed countries, Europeans would probably be much closer on the side of the slapper than the slappee, whereas a lot of the Americans would probably be on the slappee side, though I might say England and Canada would be on the slappee side, on the plaintiff side. Um, man, but I hate that fucking kid, and I hate that family. I really do. Like, I'm all for homeschooling. I'm all for not privatizing education, but I'm all for parents taking a responsibility and initiative on educating their child and readying them for the world. But that's not what happened. They sheltered him, and they took the world away from him, and they spoiled him so that he was ruined. And now that he has to go out and interact with the rest of the world, we all have to fucking deal with him. And I hate that. I hate that. It's a personal issue. So the show is not going to be a nightmare for me, but it's going to be an example of part of the world that I hate. Oh, kitties. Yeah, he's got a temper and whatnot, and I don't like him. Let me say that, even if I'm on his side for the court case, I don't like him. I don't like that character. I don't like what happened when he grabbed his wife. Now, it's not like this hasn't been presented. If it changes later in the show, great. But if there's nice cuts him in his sleep, like continuously, and that's why he's an angry dick, maybe. But he's a douchebag who lets his temper get out of control, and he cheats on his wife. And then the way he was holding her was not in a sexy manner. I'll say that too. Even if she was into it, that wasn't the time apparently. So no, he's got this weird physical dominance for control thing, and I think he was pushed and shoved in the lockers too many times as a kid. So now he wants to be a warrior. At least that's what the narrator said. All right, that's all I got. I gotta go. I will figure out a way to catch up on Switch and Birth properly. Now, I would say I would catch up on Melissa and Joey too, but Switch and Birth is a completely different show with a different basis, and I want every bit of context possible. But totally worth it. Take anything away from this, go watch that show. I am Kamurai. Have a nice day.